Glad to have you here with me on another episode of Startups. I'm Tamilore Akinfolye. Now, in a world where data is becoming the cornerstone of decision making and innovation, Periculum is leading the charge in harnessing this power to drive progress in Africa. Founded in 2019 by Michael Collins, Periculum is an AI-driven company providing cutting-edge data analytics software solutions. Today, we dive into the vision, challenges, and groundbreaking solutions of Periculum and explore how it's transforming businesses and lives across the continent.
Our biggest solution right now that we offer businesses is a solution we call Insights, which is a financial analytics tool that analyzes the financial health of an entity. So it could be a business, it could be a person, and what it does is that we're able to collect data from multiple different sources, for example, bank statement data, credit bureau data if it's available, telco data, etc. And then we analyze that data, we put it into a machine learning process and analyze the data, and it exposes over 80 risk variables that are essential in understanding the financial health of an entity. My name is Michael Collins. I'm the founder and CEO of Periculum.
Michael Collins' journey from Nigeria to Canada at the age of 19 set the stage for a transformative vision. With a background in working for financial institutions like CIB in Canada, Collins began to contemplate the challenges facing his homeland. These reflections led him to establish Periculum in 2019, an AI company dedicated to providing data analytics solutions to organizations.
I was born and raised in Nigeria. I grew up in Surulere, and I moved to Canada back when I was 19. Went to university there, and then worked at a couple of financial institutions there. I worked for CIBC and also BMO Bank of Montreal. And working there, I started to think about, especially back home, and think about the different problems that we have back home and what ways I could help with creating solutions for solving a lot of our problems back home. So back in 2019, I founded Periculum, and this year will be our 5th year in operation. And we started out as an AI company, AI ML company, where we provide data analytics software solutions to organizations in underserved markets.
As the youngest continent globally, Africa's youthful population is a catalyst for change and innovation. And according to Collins, with the right tools and knowledge, we could move forward as a country and as a people.
Africa is the youngest continent in the world, right? So when you start looking at all that stuff and you look at the potential that we have, like not just in a natural resource standpoint, but also in a human resource standpoint, you start to realize, okay, there's a lot that we have here, and if we have the right tools, the right knowledge, we could begin to move forward as a country, as a people. So that was the big motivator for me. Africa is the youngest continent in the world. Like if you look at, and this is not me saying that, this is from the New York Times. They say the average age of Africans is 19. You compare that with the average age of Canadians, which is between 40 to 49. Same with Western Europe. The average age of Americans is between 30 to 39. So we're talking very, very old countries and continents. So compare that to what we have here in Africa. where we're very young. You realize that we're now at a very unique inflection point where on one hand we are a very young continent and country, and then on the other hand you start to realize that this young population require more. They need more, better service, better quality from the businesses, from their government. They are demanding it. It's something that they're willing to sit by and accept what our parents accepted. They're willing to now push and make changes.
Periculum's flagship product, Insight, exemplifies their innovative approach. Insight is a financial analytic tool that evaluates the financial health of entities, revealing unique insights and determining affordability.
Our biggest solution right now that we have for businesses is a solution we call Insights, which is a financial analytics tool that analyzes the financial health of an entity. So it could be a business, it could be a person, and what it does is that we're able to collect data from multiple different sources, for example, bank statement data, credit bureau data if it's available, telco data, etc. And then we analyze that data, we put it into a machine learning process and analyze the data, and it exposes over 80 risk variables that are essential in understanding the financial health of an entity. And those variables are in 5 different buckets, which are like income analysis, spend analysis, behavior analysis. So it shows unique things like if this person has the propensity of being a gambler, for example, or what this person is spending on entertainment in a month, right? For example, right? So then and then at the end of the whole process, it shows you the affordability, what this person can actually afford in real time.
One notable success story is how Periculum saved the company from closing by reducing its customer default rate.
This is a digital lender, and they lend to all 36 states in the country. And when they came to us, they had a 89% default rate. So they're on the verge of bankruptcy. They were on the verge of closing their doors. So what we did is that we looked at their data, and we collected that data. We looked at the data, and we said, okay, what is the cause of this high default rate company-wide? And then once we did our analysis, we discovered that 14 of the 36 states that they lend money to, they had 100% default rate, 100%, as in every naira they lent out in those places, they never got back. So I won't mention the states or what part of the country they're in. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but so that's what we discovered. And then we discovered on the positive side that one of the states that they had a very good repayment rate was Lagos. So we're now, okay, what's the difference? Why are their customers in Lagos paying back compared to their customers in those 14 states? So what we then did is that we built 2 machine learning models. So one model was stricter, and the other model was a normal, regular model. So when a person applied for a loan, it became from one of those 14 100% default states. It will go through the stricter approval process, loan approval process. So the stricter machine learning model. And if the application came from one of the non-default states, it will go to the normal process. So we did that. We ran the pilot for a month, and after a month, their default rate dropped from 89% to 36% in 1 month. So that's over half. And then I think as of today, I think their default rate is around like 9%. So that's we just literally saved the business from closing its doors because of the high default rates that they were, that they had on their loan book, on their balance sheet, right? So that's just one example out of many examples, but that we have.
Operating in a market where data analytics is still beginning concept poses challenges. Education and data access are primary hurdles for Periculum.
There's 2 challenges that you face as a data company, especially in a new market and something that is kind of new to people. So one is the educational part, right? Having people to understand, like, this is what we do, this is how we can help you. And to overcome that is, running things like pilots with customers, or having webinars, like what Victoria does, like different outreach things where we actually like teaching people about, okay, this is what we do, this is how it will help your business, providing them with data on how we can increase your revenue, because at the end of the day, businesses, they care about the bottom line. How a data-driven approach can increase your revenue by 75% over a non-data-driven approach, right? So that's one issue that we face. So, and how we overcome that is, through the education and the outreach and all that stuff. Another one is actually access to data. So when you operate in like a place like Nigeria, there's data everywhere, but the data is siloed. So each company, each organization has their data, which is all fixed in within their organization, and it's not freely shared, right? So, so with that, this is where we work with different partners. We work with different data partners, and also we work hand in glove with the government regulators as well. So like, NITSTA in Nigeria, NITA in Uganda, the CRB in Kenya, etc., right? So we work really closely with them, hand in glove with them, to help them to create policy that works while not hindering innovation.
While Collins envisions a future where data mobility matches the global movement of people, understanding and listening to customers holistically allows Periculum to predict trends and stay ahead.
We live in a very global marketplace, right? So you could have a business in Lagos, Nigeria, but ship worldwide. You ship to people in Uganda or South Africa, or in the UK or in America or Canada, right? And so we live in a time where you don't see your customer, right? We've gone from having your mom and pop shop down the street where you know everybody, in your area, all that stuff, right? To now having global businesses that actually thanks to shipping and everything and logistics, you're able to now ship globally and sell your goods globally. And then the other part is that people are no longer in one location. So they also are starting to, you're born here, but you immigrate there, you immigrate there, you immigrate there. So people are also, very, very mobile, right? So they're all over the place. So what I see, in the future is that data will become as mobile as a company or as a person.
Periculum is on the brink of launching Prolific, an AI chatbot designed to be trained with specific data to provide accurate answers in multiple languages. Another forthcoming solution is an AI-driven fraud detection system which enhances transaction security.
Prolific is essentially it's an AI chatbot, so it's an artificial intelligence chatbot. So what it does is that you can train. So it's kind of like your own personalized ChatGPT, where you can train it with your own data and then ask it questions where you can now get answers on it. So for example, let's say you have a 1,000-page document and you want to get some information on that document. You don't want to read the whole thing because it's 1,000 pages, right? So you can train the ML model with that document, and then you can ask it specific things in the document and it will come out, right? So it's like your own personal chat, GPT, right? So that is a product that we're coming out with. It's going to be available in multiple different languages, not just English. So basically our main languages in Nigeria, so Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, is going to have ability, so you can chat with it in those languages. You can chat with it in Swahili, in Zulu, in French, English, of course. I think we have Xhosa capabilities as well. So I think there's Arabic coming in as well at some point. So So yeah, so basically we built it's for Africans by Africans. So it has our nuances, where we speak and so on, right? So, that's one solution about we're going to be coming out with.
Curriculum also invests in the future by offering an internship program for young tech enthusiasts. Michael Collins Curriculum is more than just a data analytic company. It is a beacon of innovation and progress for Africa. By understanding and harnessing the continent's youthful energy and abundant resources, Curriculum is not only solving present-day problems, but also paving the way for a prosperous future. In the wake of a global pandemic, mental health issue became more prominent, highlighting the need for accessible mental health care across the world. Now, in Africa, a continent with rich cultural diversity and unique challenges, this need was even more critical. Now, this is the story of Akoma Health, an innovation mental health platform addressing the mental health crisis in Africa.
Akoma Health came about mostly due to the problem we saw around mental health and people's needs on the continent during the pandemic, but the difficulty of being able to find a therapist or psychologist who could meet the specific needs that people had on ground in Africa. And those were things like somebody that understood your background and context and cultural context, for example, could offer advice and have understanding of family dynamics. My name is Melanie Williams. I am the CEO of Akoma Health and also the founder.
In the heart of Africa, amidst the vibrant cultures and dynamic communities, a silent crisis often goes unnoticed. The mental health struggles of millions have long been overshadowed by more visible challenges. However, during the pandemic, these hidden battles become more apparent, prompting the establishment of Akoma Health.
One of the big issues in Nigeria when it comes to healthcare, and this isn't just mental health, is that people just go one time and then they feel better and then they stop going. So it could be with, let's say, I don't know, they're supposed to be going and receiving some injection every single week. People are going to go once, maybe they'll go twice. Then as soon as they start feeling better, they stop going again. Unfortunately, that's just not supposed to be how it works, because you have to keep going and you have to complete your course of, medication for you to see the full results and prevent future recurrences. So for those that do come consistently, as guided by the psychologist, there are many different instances of where we've seen success stories. We've supported marriages that were maybe on the brink of, separation. We've supported those that were going to medical doctors for years, trying to get a reason and understanding of certain physical ailments they were having, like sleeplessness, they were gaining weight, all these things that just could not be understood by medical practitioners. They came to therapy and realized that a lot of these things were stress-induced. And the psychologists were able to help them through talk therapy on over a few sessions each week. We've seen so many instances of postpartum depression where people felt very isolated after giving birth and needed the support of a therapist because they didn't necessarily have that support within their household, which seems to be more and more common these days. And so there have been many success stories without necessarily sharing details because we definitely respect the privacy of our clients. But there are some general things that we've seen over and over again, specifically when it comes to issues of marriage, when it comes to issues of postpartum, which are key changes in people's lives, when it comes to issues of jobs, promotion, losing jobs, or a lot of people in the workplace getting fired, when it comes to health concerns, especially for chronic diseases. We know that those with chronic diseases are 80% more likely to suffer some form of mental health crisis afterwards, be it depression, anxiety, stress.
From the stresses of everyday life to the complexities of family dynamics, the mental health landscape in Africa is unique. Yet, many were missing the crucial support they needed, unable to afford the high fees of international therapy services.
So, Akoma Health came about mostly due to the problem we saw around mental health and people's needs on the continent during the pandemic, but the difficulty of being able to find a therapist or psychologist who could meet the specific needs that people had on ground in Africa. And those were things like somebody that understood your background and context and cultural context, for example, could offer advice and have understanding of family dynamics, for example. That's somebody that can understand the stresses of having to deal with certain scarcities or availability or traffic and certain stresses that happen on a daily basis and the context of, for example, working and work dynamics. And many people were missing from that angle, but also were unable to afford the high fees of therapy internationally from competitors like BetterHelp and so on. So we decided to build Akoma Health, having spoken to many people like ourselves who face challenges of accessing therapy, and we really wanted to meet the need.
Akoma Health's mission is to increase the quality of human capital by addressing these issues head-on.
Mission is really to increase productivity of Africans, increase the quality of our human capital. And so, as I mentioned prior, mental health issues can actually go on to cause further issues when it comes to how productive you can be at work. It's sometimes you could be showing up and not able to really indulge or connect with the work or connect with your coworkers or think outside of the box because you're so stressed or overwhelmed with whatever life challenges are, how they're affecting you. So what we really want to do is make sure that people are able to show up as their full selves. People are able to show up confidently without their limiting beliefs and really be able to apply themselves productively in the workplace, think outside the box, be fully present when they're contributing to meetings, working on projects, and also be productive in how they contribute to society and their families and so on. So it starts with mental health for healthcare for us and applies to many other aspects of life.
Unlike many other platforms, Akoma Health prides itself on a rigorous selection process, ensuring that only highly trained psychologists and psychiatrists are part of their network. These professionals come from various parts of Africa, offering diverse perspectives and care in local currencies.
Have highly trained psychologists on our platform. Those psychologists have gone through rigorous interviews and a selection process to be able to exist on our platform. Many other platforms actually do not have a rigorous process of assessment. They actually allow most people on. Not only do they allow most people on, but most of them are actually also not psychologists. A lot of them are actually therapists, which have a very different level of qualifications and requirements within Nigeria and across other parts of Africa. Number two is not only do we have qualified psychologists, but we have qualified psychologists across Africa. So some of our psychologists are from Ghana, some of them are from Kenya, and many other regions, which allow for, if you want a different perspective from a different region or a different kind of care, we're able to provide that to you also on our platform while being able to pay in your local currency.
The journey began with an idea at Stanford Business School, and through rigorous research and partnerships, it has grown into a lifeline for many.
Class I was doing at business school. So I went to Stanford Business School many years ago. And at Stanford, I came up with the idea of building a mental health business. And when I came up with the idea, we started doing the research, and much of the research I've told you about, and we saw a significant gap and opportunity in the market to essentially provide mental health services to Africans in Africa, who were particularly underserved from a mental health perspective, but also had a very big and growing need. So we decided to build this ourselves. We started by building our website, as well as recruiting psychologists and forming partnerships with associations like the National Association of Clinical Psychologists to make sure that we had access to the best pool of active mental health professionals on the continent. We also started providing therapy directly to the psychologists. So the first step was to essentially build out the team and the resources that we required to test out initial demand. So we started out by building a website at least that could help allow for bookings, as well as connecting individuals with the psychologists that we had initially screened through our partnerships with the National Association of Clinical Psychologists. We also had to come up with a price point and see what people were willing to pay. And generally from there, that's how we grew. We started understanding what kind of technological needs people had on ground, the kind of, platforms and forms of devices that people like to use when they're having their therapy sessions, and so much more.
From an initial focus on individual therapy, Akoma has expanded to offer B2B services, working with employers and health insurance to provide therapy for their members. This approach ensures that more people can access mental health support without financial barriers.
We are accessible through a number of health management organizations. A lot of the health insurers and HMOs offer Akoma Health to their subscribers and their members. And so you wouldn't even have to pay out of pocket if you want to access Akoma Health. If you would like to pay out of pocket because your employer or your health insurer does not cover Akoma Health, sessions start from as low as 15,000 per individual session, or you can get subscriptions, which bring down the cost of each session even more. The first part of that is if you're an employer and you're interested in an Akoma Health partnership, you can essentially select time on our website to talk further about it. There's a communication tab there to find out more information. We would want to know things like how many employees you have, how many sessions you'd like to make available to each of your employees, maybe some other of the issues that are relevant to the company, so we can speak specifically to the company at the onboarding session about, whether it's stress or financial worries or, economic woes or whatever, or maybe it's promotion time of year and we're talking about things, anxiety related to that. We can generally talk about things that may be specific to what most people in the company are thinking about. And then beyond that, we can essentially get to a place where we sign a service level agreement, a contract that essentially defines our relationship and puts much of that in writing. And we will essentially start from there. So that's typically a positive and easy path to getting things done.
Despite challenges such as economic instability and technical issues, Akoma Health continues to thrive, driven by commitment to improving mental health care. And that's all we can take on this episode of Startups. See you again next time. I'm Tamilore Akinkolie.